Thank you for coming to this week's of Hear Our Voices. We hope to see you next week, but please follow us on our social media platforms. We got YouTube, we got obviously here, depending where you are, become our friend. And we have Instagram and we have TikTok. So follow us on there.
I really, you don't know what you don't know until you know it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so thankful to have a group of women that just saw me. I don't have to say much. I don't have to over explain or say, hey, this is why I'm feeling this way about this. It's just, it just is. It's just that. One thing I wish that more people operated from that core, that gut, where it's just like, yeah, your experience is valid and it's okay to feel that way. So,
Understood. I understood. So
yeah.
when you went to Safe Horizons, you said they talked to you, they went through the process with you, they had snacks for your kids. That was very important. And
It was. They're
it's
pop.
good, like families are gonna be there with children. Kids love to eat, they love to play games.
They love to
Be
play
prepared.
games. They had a little move. They had a little plaything area for the kids, and they had so many books. Oh, I'm a avid reader, and at that time, my daughter she loved reading too. My son, he was, whew, how old was Andre? I said 3, 4, 3, maybe, and he was learning how to read. He was reading actually by the time he was 3. He was a very smart kid. And then my little one, which was a toddler. So they had like everything for each age. It was amazing. They had the snacks, they had the little juice, water, they had the TV, they had a little play area with a kitchen and they get to play if they want to and they understood that they were kids.
Right.
Some places they don't understand that you have kids and kids sometimes make noise. My kids are not that loud. I mean, they're pretty mindful for the most part, unless they're playing Uno.
Uno is fighting games. I'm
Uno
not.
is
That is a fighting
oh,
game.
it is. And I'm so competitive by nature.
Me too. Oh
Yeah,
my
I don't let no
gosh.
one win. You don't
Oh
win. No, you have to
man.
earn the win.
Yes, we do have to earn. I believe in kids. You don't make them kids just win. They
You
have
don't
to
make
learn in life. You gotta try
right.
hard. That's what I believe in.
I
Until you get
believe
that
it.
good to beat me, sorry, sweetheart.
You have to. Like, you have to be good. What
Right.
is this?
Everybody don't get an award for this game. That's not how it's gonna work.
No, that's not
No.
gonna work. No, you're gonna have to earn it.
Right.
And then even then I'll be in denial and I will want to play again.
Oh man.
Not me like you're cheating. I'm trying again. Let's try again.
Right. Over.
But
Yeah.
that's yeah. So unless they're playing Uno or Mario Kart on the Switch,
Right.
they're pretty sensitive about like how loud they are and how in relation to where are you in relation to what's going on. I'm working on to really get them to understand that.
Right.
So that's how I'm able to speak on this podcast right now.
But
Now my kids coming in, I'm like, wow, they're really doing such a good job. I should really.
so how long did they help you? I know you said eviction at one point. How
Oh
long did
yeah,
it get you to housing? Did they help you with the eviction? What was the steps we're taking to get you into the place that you are now?
a lot of prayers and hard work, to be honest with you.
Got it.
I wish I could say that one person or one other person. There are some very awesome, amazing people in the Brooklyn Family Justice Center. There's some that left already, and I wish they didn't. Um, but when it came to the eviction, I leaned on them to say, "Hey, things are happening," and I went to Canva. Also,
Right.
my mom is a social worker. I should probably put that out there. But she works with elderly.
Mhm.
So she don't really work with youth, and so she usually works with elderly. But I know that if I part of my abuse was isolation.
Right.
I started isolating myself from family and friends, and I didn't even realize it. And then then like the name calling never stops. Then oh, that's why you have no friends, and oh, you're so lonely, nobody come talk to you. And oh, but then when I did have friends and family and stuff come over, I'm a social person.
Right.
So like when I did have that happen, it always led to an argument or a fight or just verbal disagreements because I had so and so at the house, and he felt a certain way about it, and felt it was okay to call me out my name, and it was okay to belittle me and make me feel like sugar honey iced tea.
Mhm.
you know A-
Understandable.
and it's that part where I just like, even now I moved, I realize I'm not the same. I realize how much my body harbored, and how much I just am slowly but surely trying to get back to myself, get back to a better version of myself, where I am talking to family on a constant basis, letting go of the shame and the guilt and the sorrow and the sadness that comes with isolating myself from the people that love me the most. I could
Right.
never get that relationship back to where it was, or even better with my mother.
Mm.
I could never, because too much has happened, and she's the best support system. Like, she's not in the tri-state, she's in another state, but she is the best support system. I don't know how she did it. I don't know how she does it. And I am like ashamed of of how who I became while in this relationship, this marriage, right?
Right.
And so I went to family justice system, and I went to Brooklyn Family Justice Center sent me to Canva Home Base is a place that can help it's an organization that can help when you are facing eviction, like you have the eviction notice in your hand. They could also help save you from being displaced from your home. So, like, if the landlord is doing unfair stuff or things that are not okay, they can help navigate you through that. One thing I will note is that they are overwhelmed. Anything that's good or a good agency seems to be overwhelmed and understaffed and underpaid staff that is present, right?
Right.
So it really depends on um, who you talk to and when you get in there, and just being consistent. Because I realize a lot of people felt I just moved into this beautiful place um, out of nowhere, and that's not the case. It's years of hard work. I had FEPs. They were able to. We went to court with the lawyer. The lawyer was not really the best advocate, but everything that I needed to get done was done.
Right.
I asked for my name to be um put onto the lease, and for his name to be removed, because it's me that they're going in court with.
Right.
And this is where financial abuse comes in, right? Because a simple note to sign to say that you no longer live here, and that, so and so live. I've been living since the beginning. I've been here since day one. Landlord and management knew that. So it's a source of a part of abuse, and I don't really know if I have a name for it, because some part you could say, oh yes, that's it's that other person, but on the other hand, it's also management that just kind of monopolize the opportunity, or optimize their financial gain from the opportunity. So if I go and I have my name on this thing, and they can get money from theft, like a thing where they give, like they pay for a part of your rent, or if I go to get Section 8, and Section 8 will pay for I think all but 30% of your rent, or
Right.
um they it, overall the management will benefit. They will get not only their arrears, but they also will get, so it doesn't matter that they didn't fix the broken walls, or fix the shelves, or fix there was literally a wall hanging off of a wall in my apartment. You could see the exposed brick coming down, and it's an over a
Mm,
100-year-old apartment, and my kids had asthma, and there has been
mm,
lead paint shown. Like, I've done 311 calls where, you know, lead paint was shown to be in my home.
wow.
And so, as a single mom, as a DV survivor, just trying to survive, how many things am I balancing on my plate in order to get the quality of housing that my children deserve? They deserve hot, warm, running water. They
Right.
deserve a functional stove. They deserve a functional fridge. They deserve a functional home free of rodents and mice. I think that that's the biggest trauma I can ever, like, that's that one will always stay with me. And I don't know, maybe some listeners will be like, "Oh, well, what's going on?" Maybe that's just a lifestyle thing,
Right.
but it's not. If you're on the first floor of a broken down over 100-year-old apartment, that does not that their priority is not to keep up with the Joneses, is to keep the most amount of money in their pockets, and be damned the repairs that are needed for structural safety. There was time where the literally the floor of my bathroom was sinking into the basement.
Mm,
They had to repair the whole floor. And I was complaining for about 6 weeks about the same toilet that's wiggling, and it looks like it's something's not right. And you know what? I pray and I thank God every day that my potty training toddlers didn't fall through all the way to the basement. You know what
wow.
I'm saying? Yeah, because you could see straight through to the basement.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when I say that home was my home, but it wasn't my home, that's what I
Right.
mean. It was my home, but it wasn't. After Canva and after the trial, I kept, there's one thing I want to really note, and like really, um, as a survivor, the number one choice that's usually doled out is to go to a DV shelter. Go
Mm,
to a domestic violence shelter. You'll be okay there. You'll be safe. Go to a domestic violence shelter. I refused to go. There's many stages when during the eviction, I wouldn't have to deal with it. It would fall, the liability would fall to him. It would make sense. Before the eviction, it would make sense. After the eviction, after the settlement, and it was officially my home, but not officially on paper. So the judge statement saying it's official, but when you look at the paper, it still says his name.
right.
It took until I moved out for them to change it to my name.
So what's the point of doing it then? It's too late.
It's too late, right? But then that way they can collect whatever FEPS. or public services
Mm,
are still available. So it took about 3 to 4 months for me to realize they were still collecting money for, from theft under 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 my name, even though it's known. I not only gave a notice of leaving, I moved. I gave the super my keys, moved out, moved. And I'm seeing on my HRA case that they're still paying amount of dollars to so and so and so. Why? Because if they could still get money, why not? Right? If they could still, like, why be honest? Let's keep it above. People like
mm,
money.
right,
So why be honest? Why say no, I can't accept these checks, no longer lives here. Right?
right.
Um I I I've spoke to HRA since, and I have gotten that resolved. But just to say, like, the number one is to, why don't you move to a shelter? Why don't you get out of here and go to a shelter? I have three beautiful children: 8-year-old son, a 10-year-old son, and a 12-year-old. Oh, pray for me, daughter. And at the end of the day, it's just like I'm going to drag my toddlers. They were toddlers, like maybe my daughter was going to school, but it's just like I'm going to drag them to the shelter. When I was a teenager, I was about 18, 19 years old, and there was a domestic issue um that occurred, and it um 'cause I can't put my family business all out there, right? uh, it was a issue that occurred, and it forced me and my mother to enter into a family tier 2 shelter.
Okay.
And we were there for over 6 months.
Wow.
And to stay, the memories seared into my brain as to the treatment of women in duress, surviving. I mean, our situation wasn't that complicated. Like, it really wasn't. And I'm blessed, and we're blessed. But to enter into that place with my mother, constantly worrying about my brother and if he's okay, constantly worrying about he had to, because he was too old. He was past 21. He couldn't be roomed with us. He would have to go on his own. And so we had like a friend of the family, rent a room for him. But you know how those things can always get complicated.
Right.
So yeah, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it like that. But I was always worried about, you kind of get this kind of anxiety, because there's times where they do fire drills, and you have to just leave. And fire drills, it makes sense, yes,
I
but they
hate
had to.
them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. It's at least twice a month, twice a week, I think, because they always had new people. I can't remember, but I remember it was often. It had to be twice a week. That makes more sense. At least twice a week, and it can happen at any time of the day. So it can happen in the morning. They could do one in the middle of the night. They can do one literally 1 o'clock in the morning. And you have to leave everything, close your door, remember your key, and then go down the stairs in the cold. If you remember your jacket, right? If you remember to pick up your jacket to go outside, if you remember to pick up the robe to go outside, right?
Right.
And And then just those things, the curfew, every rule, that means every rule that places and people have usually came from something or someone, right? So maybe a series of events led them to having to do the fire drill that often. Maybe it was just one day that people didn't know what the fire drill was, or so many people are coming in and out. So they had to make sure that everyone is compliant, right?
Right.
The rules of how long you're allowed to stay out. You are expected to be outside of your residence. And it doesn't matter you're coming from a DV situation. Maybe it changed now, but you had to leave by 11 a.m. every day. Doesn't matter where you go. And you are not expected to be home earlier than 5, I believe it was.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then you could not be outside later than 11 p.m. because then they'll count you as absence. And then if you are absent twice, they say, well, you have an apartment, you have some place you can stay, you should stay there. So for me, if even if you wanted, like, I understand why some of these rules are in place, but also I think it robs people of their humanity as well,
Right.
and your own dignity and your own. If you're in the shower while a fire drill comes on, you are expected to hop out the shower mid soap and hair, doesn't matter. Hop out the shower, get a robe, and come outside in the cold. It doesn't matter. And so I'm supposed to take my 3 children, my 3 beautiful, smart children, to a place that has more rules than not, and doesn't necessarily consider the survivor that's as a whole person, like holistically. I couldn't. I rather sell my butt on the street. Because that's a whole thing. And, than to have my children ever have to deal with that kind of chaos and instability in their lives. I have all of my children are neurodivergent. My middle one is on the spectrum
Right.
and also has ADHD combined. And the little one also has ADHD hyperactivity. And my daughter, they're evaluating currently. So at that time, I did not know what I know now. So if I was to bring them to that situation, they will be worse off than staying in a place that the walls, the paint of the walls, remind you of the trauma that you endured in that home. The psychological exhaustion. I rather I rather have had my peace of mind and stay in a home that was triggering and raise my kids as best as I can until I provide them with better. And when I tell you this is better, I'm thanking the Lord every day for a beautiful home. This is something I could not pray for. I could not. Good school system, good school district, good neighbors, kind, doorman, person in the front, don't gotta worry about randos coming and knocking at your door or like where's Waldo with your package? Like, where's
Right.
my package? Where's my package? I was in that building so long that people stopped touching my package
Oh,
because
God.
they know they'll hear a yelling black lady about children's clothes. What am I buying? I'm buying clothes, school supplies,
Right.
nothing really for me. um, But yeah, that's where I sit when it comes to all that. Just I rather have suffered the pain and the mental toll it took to stay in a house of which you were abused in, which you were molested in, which you were, I don't know if you could say that, mm, sexually, you know,
Right.
taken advantage of. um, where you witness things, where you know, hey, this is the place where my children was hurt and harmed. I rather stay there 1,000 times over than to walk into the shelter. So when I see people who maybe I meet them in church, maybe I meet them some random way, school, and they're saying they're in the shelter, I get it. The humility that you're expected to have when you're there, like to be grateful that you have a roof over your head, which you are. But it's not to say that there's not a place for reform. There's not a place to say, hey, if this person can show they went to school, maybe let's not waste time and do these remedial tests. That part,
Right.
that part. If it shows that they accepted to I was going to college at the time, so they show that they're enrolled in college. How about we just let them go to college? You know,
Right.
instead of doing these initiatives to try to get people to work. Why don't we do one assessment to see where they're at rather than, okay, we know that you're higher than this functionally, but we still have to do it. Why? To dot the I and cross the T? I would never put my children, if I could help it, but it is a resource. So I never, and I know like the strongest people who had to. And I get it. I still get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any last words for the people who are listening?
Mm, my last words would just be to be kind to yourself, to try and pour into the cup that's probably empty and overflowing for others that you have to care about, whether that's children, whether that's nieces, nephews, grandchildren, because it's hard. And I'm always learning how or different ways to pour into myself because it's not easy to not be housed. It's not easy to be a survivor. There's so much injustice that you face, and that you deal with, and that you go through, but not to give up. Because one thing I know, God has a funny way of really showing you all He can do. And if little old me can make it out here to a better home, a safe home, I know that He can do it for you too. Yeah. Thank you.
So, guys, we have come to end of Hear Our Voices. Thank you for listening in. Please go find us on social media. Just say hi if you would like. If you have resources to add into the resource packet, we would love to have that. If you're a person with a story, would like people to hear. The qualifications are that you are a family with a child at least on 21 or younger, or you obviously was in shelter when you were 21 and younger with your parent, and that you live in the USA. That's the only requirement. Evictions count. So basically, being unstable, being doubled up in a home, those things count. A lot of time people don't count those things, but that's technically you are homeless. You don't have a place that is your own. So that's counted as doubled up. If you didn't know, that's the name for it. But thank you guys so much for coming on and listening to me week by week and supporting me. We are trying to grow, so please, please, please give it to your friends, your families, your cats, your dogs, anybody who can listen and has an account. On all the streaming platforms. Right now, this is Spotify, I wanna say, used to be Anchor, kind of blended in, and I know it goes to, like, 3 other places. So I would love that you guys share it to anybody who would just love to listen to hear and learn things about different things. I hope that you learn this perspective about DV and about knowing that this is do it for yourself, do it for your safety. Don't care what other people think about you, to be honest. People are gonna think about something good about you or bad about you depending what you do, no matter what you do. So do it for yourself, do it for your kids. Um, and there's always help out there as you'll see the link down below, a Safe Horizon. We have New Destiny. They have Nova Through the Path, which is in the Bronx. They have many different places that can help. Another organization we did talk about is Canva. They help you get storage. They help you do many different things. They help
They
you
do.
financial security and things like that. So all those things will be listed in our resource packet down below. So if you want to hear more information, you can get that. The home base, they have Catholic Charities. It has Riseboro, depending on what borough you are in. So if you want to go on the home base, you can literally Google it and put in your zip code, and it's done by zip code. It is a long wait. I'm not gonna lie to you. It could take months. They try to get to people who are like getting evicted now. That's not just only people who have like old rents, but it can be done. I've used the service before Corona, so it was a bit different. It was still slow then. That's telling you a lot. So after Corona, it's still even slower. But as was said before, they are understaffed, they are overworked, and they're underpaid. So
Yeah,
you have to bear with them. The city is trying some stuff on the back end. Let's see if that happens anytime soon to help out New York City because we are struggling. The pandemic seemed like it's over, but a new strain
it's
is out
not.
there. But a
New
new
strains
strain
are
has to
horrible.
come.
They are
Yes.
really bad. In addition
So
to the, sorry, go ahead.
no problem, you're fine. And we are trying to get it. I think people think that the housing crisis is over. It's not. It's still here, and people are trying to find homes to stay in with themselves or just their family. And they have other different things that they have coming out in the city that they're trying to do this year and next year. Hopefully, that can help the situation that we are in. And yeah, so thank you guys for being so amazing. Thank you for listening to hear our voices. And I'll definitely see you next time. Hopefully I sound better because this voice is kind of it's pushing it for me. But hope to see and hear from you next time, guys. Until next
Thank you.
time. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, this is the host K Did. This is Hear Our Voices, where we tell stories, give resources, and change the narrative of homelessness. If you want to follow us, you can follow us on all our social media platforms. And also, if you want to tell a story, you can definitely DM us anytime. I'm always available. To be honest, I'm always available to do interviews too. And we would love to hear your story. We would also like to have your resource added to our resource packet. Our resource packet is definitely linked in a LinkedIn every single episode to make sure if you need resources, if you need help, if you think of anything that you know you can give somebody else, that would be a place to do it. I hope these episodes are helpful to anybody that you know or to yourself. And we thank you so much for supporting us. Sit back and relax and listen to our next podcast. Bye.